You may remember the anguish suffered by the family of Breck, a 14-year-old schoolboy who was killed 10 years ago after being groomed online.
The sheer horror of his death was compounded 5 years later when Breck's younger sister, Chloe, was repeatedly threatened and harassed on social media. Yesterday, her tormentor was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for stalking and 2 counts of malicious communication and handed a 15-year restraining order. We're going to be speaking to Chloe and her mum, Lorin LaFave, in just a moment. But first, here's Polly Bartlett.
I need police and a forensics team to my address, please. My friend and I got into an altercation, and I'm the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you've killed somebody?
Yes, I am.
Breck Bednar was just 14 years old when he was lured to his death by Lewis Danes, who'd been grooming the talented gamer online. Danes was sentenced to life for Breck's murder, but the family's terror had only just begun. 5 years later, Breck's sister Chloe began receiving cowardly and depraved messages on social media. The messages contained detailed information and images about her brother's death. The perpetrator even went so far as pretending to be Breck and claiming to have killed him. Yesterday, 25-year-old hairdresser Dwayne Boakai was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison with a 15-year restraining order. Despite this conviction, the family say their fight for better online safety is far from over.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we are joined now, as we said, by Chloe and her mum, Lorin. It's good to speak to both of you this morning. The more you've lived and breathed every second of this horror, both of you, but the more Adel and I were looking at the details, the more disturbed we felt yesterday. You were only 12, weren't you, when this started?
Yeah, so when my brother was murdered, I was 12, so I was just freshly in year 7, and having something like that happen to you at such a young age just makes you grow up just like that. I couldn't be a normal 12-year-old. Everything that was scary to me about real life just came true all at once. And to have something happen like that to me at such a young age, it just impacted me from then on.
And then the abuse.
Yes. I was only 17 at that point when the abuse started, and I was still just a kid, only 17, and I was at school when it happened. The messages I received, I was at school, I was in class, annoyingly. I was on the phone in class. That's what I get. No. But it just shocked me. It was out of the blue. It was crazy to think that something like that could happen after everything I've been through. I cannot grieve as a normal person. I cannot live life as a normal person.
The level of abuse was extraordinary, Chloe. This was somebody who found you on social media, on Snapchat, but they appeared to know things so detailed about the case, about you and the family, that, I mean, you must have been so confusing at that time to get to receive. It wasn't just abuse from somebody random, just with random abuse. This was with specific detail.
I mean, that's true, yes. I wasn't sure who it was because they used a false name, and I thought it was at first the killer, and then a new account that was made, and it was claiming to be my brother himself. And they even made a little profile picture that looked like him and said that, "Oh, Chloe, I miss you. I'm going to come see you soon." And
it was all quite creepy.
Oh,
it was very creepy.
I mean, creepy, yes, but sickening.
Yeah.
For you. I mean, you're there as mum as well, Lorin. You're already going through this horror, wanting to, I would imagine, wrap your other children in total cotton-wool love and big arms.
Yes.
When were you aware that this was happening?
Well, I was actually on a way to a presentation because I set up the Breck Foundation so that I could help educate children. I was on the way and I got a call from her school that said they had brought her straight to the police station, which I thought was helpful. They were taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And I had to turn around and meet them at the police station. But I think what was difficult is at that time, the police that were there didn't know about Snapchat, didn't know how it worked because it wasn't, generationally, it wasn't something that they had used. So they didn't actually understand, you know, the way in which young people are using their devices and the apps, and literally, you know, asked her to close down all of her accounts or they wouldn't investigate. And that was where she interacted with all of her real friends, as well as being approached by, this stranger who had researched about our case and had looked into all sorts of things, with a weird fascination. And on top of that, had actually done similar to another child, a 14-year-old, previous to Chloe. So it wasn't just our family. It was what this person was, the control and the manipulation of trying to...
Yeah, and also, just to clarify, Dwayne Beauregard, he has no connection to you at all, no history,
or the killer, even though
I
at
know.
times he would say he was connected to the killer.
Yeah, he would claim to be the killer's cousin and said that he was going to come after me next. And he said that he was in contact with Lewis from prison. And
that he knew where Breck was buried and he was going to bury him.
He described the headstone in detail.
And what was it like when you went to the police for the first time? What kind of response did you get from them?
I mean, I think it was already really traumatic for me anyway, having to sit in like an interrogation room and tell my story. And they didn't take me seriously. They said, oh, well, you have a public account, it's your name, it's easy to find, that was kind of your fault. And they made me delete my whole account before they even took me seriously. They wouldn't investigate until I deleted it. And it's like, I shouldn't have to hide away.
Why would they do that? That's the thing. Why would they make you delete the account?
I think it's a knee-jerk reaction, to protect, to just take away.
Just get away
just
from
like
the account.
when I had phoned the police when I was worried Breck was being groomed, they said, tell him to go off that website, take him off the devices. But it's, children are on their devices and are on sites. We need them to be safe, not... We can't turn the world back and not have technology, so we need to have safety put into place.
And of course, you were grieving and trying to be as normal as possible. And as you say, that's how youngsters communicate, that's how you're trying to be as normal as possible. So taking that away didn't help. Did you feel any relief from knowing the sentence? Has that brought you any relief at all? Is there any way that you feel better about things, and what would you like next, I guess?
Well, I'm actually quite glad because, as far as I'm aware, I'm not sure that this has happened before. That somebody who's actually sending these kind of threats has gotten a kind of a good sentence like this. I'm very relieved that he's in jail and he's not going to target me anymore. But the thing is, he's not the only one. I've had multiple other harassments from who knows how many people before. It's not something that can be stopped by putting one person in jail. It's kind of putting these things in place to stop people from doing this to other victims, because it's not just me that will have this happen, and it's not just one person that will do it.
You've set up the Breck Foundation, which is, I think it's just an amazing thing to do in honour of Breck. Just tell us a little bit about your brother. He's the person that we should be really talking about here. Tell us about what your brother was like, and and how you'd like him to be remembered.
Well, for me, I know my siblings will hate this, but I always say that me and him were the closest. Me and him would always sit next to each other on the plane or in the car, and he was just the best role model that us three, as the triplets, could have had. He was always there to show us how to do the next steps in life, how to do this, how to fix that, and we just loved watching him and everything he did. We just sat there in awe, just watching everything.
They looked up to him.
It could have just, even him, because he loved playing games. We just watched him. He was the best. None of us liked to play ourselves. We just liked to watch him because he was the best and he loved it. And he was always the best person to go to around the house if, the TV remote wasn't working, or...
He'd fix everything.
He was the action man.
He was the man to do anything. And
he had that kind of brain that could figure things out.
Well, look, we should just say that Snapchat, just give them their reply. If we became aware of anyone using Snapchat for harassment, they investigate and remove the account, and also work with police to support investigations. Since 2018, they have tried to make it harder for anyone banned to create new accounts, and added pop-up warnings if strangers try to contact under 18s. And hopefully now you can enjoy some of those memories as part of your grieving that you were talking about.
It is such a relief, but it is really important that with the new Online Safety Act, that Ofcom do have the power and the resources to ensure that social media companies do use AI and all that they can do, putting in safety features. Because, as we said, there's other children will be getting harassment, abuse, inappropriate, dangerous content. We need them to step up and take responsibility. It's not just about profits, it's about safety, and that safety should come first.
Lorin, thank you very much. You're a wonderful mother. You must be very proud of Breck and of course, Chloe, what she's been through. So, Chloe, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.